we go. A Sicilian. Okay, one of the E6 Sicilians. And we get the normal open line. He attacks the pawn. Pins the knight. So I can just defend the pawn this way. He can take the knight, I guess that's the point. He can take the knight and double my pawns here. But it gives up the bishop here to do that. Let's see. So I wanted to get rid of that knight so that I could develop this bishop to D3. Help support the center pawns, and I'm going to castle next. Yeah, after this exchange, the bishop has a good diagonal on D3, looking at the king's side. So if I just castle here to unpin the knight, you know, I could have also blocked with the bishop. I'm giving him yet another opportunity to take that knight and damage my pawns, but he doesn't seem to want to do that. So where should I put the knight? I'm going to move the knight now. And, well, I guess it goes to E2 to start with. And from there it could go to D4, but then he plays E5, or it could go over to, G3 rather. And let's kick that dark squared bishop back. That was like controlling some annoying squares there. If he wants to trade off the light squared bishop, that's okay, I think. That's okay. You know, it leaves me with the weak B pawn. This setup here, so he could put a rook on the B file and target the B pawn. And yeah, black has a lot of pieces in the center. I'm not sure what he's thinking about. I guess he's trying to figure out where's the best place to relocate his bishop to, and also maybe whether to trade or not on D3. I thought just going to C5 with a check was pretty obvious. Maybe he's looking for a way to exploit that. Fortunately, he can't. With the pawn on F3, the knight can't hop into one of these squares and coordinate with the bishop on F2. That would be one danger in this position.
Check.
Giving up this diagonal. So he comes with the queen, okay. Maybe he was going to try and trick me, hoping I was put the knight there, but then he can attack the pinned knight. So knight to D4 is a bad idea. E5, I think, just wins the pinned knight. I can play knight to D4 now. No, okay, so he just retreated the bishop, and he's leaving his dark squared bishop there. I mean, his light squared bishop on A6. So where does the knight want to go? Hard to say. I don't really want to move the F pawn because I don't want his knight hopping in here to these squares. Knight to F4 is a possibility. Let's see if that provokes anything from him. I mean, the knight is loose there, but it's defending the bishop, and one idea is to trade bishops, and if he takes back with a queen, just bring my queen up to D3. And, you know, if I can get my queen into the game, So he's not doing anything about that. Okay, let's take... Here we go. My rook is undefended, so I have to be careful not to let go of that rook. But it's on a light square, so after the queen trade, he can't really harass it at all. I don't really expect him to trade queens. I really expect him to move the queen somewhere. And I was planning to develop my bishop, but I still have this problem with the b-pawn. So he leaves his queen there, allowing me to trade if I want, and he advances the b-pawn. So let's think. I take first and then play... I should move my bishop first. And then after the trade I can play b3 with my rooks defended. I can't really play that when the rooks aren't defended because he can take advantage of the pin here. Let's see. So if he plays e4, I trade queens and then move the knight. I was going to say I could take, but I can't actually take on... I can't take on d5 because his knight is defending it. And yeah, so he goes there immediately. So let's go here. And then put my rook on the b file. So I want to get in b3 and try and relieve some of the pressure over here. And my bishop is controlling the b6 square, so he can't double rook, so that's convenient. He can still play e4 to harass my knight. The knight, you know, my pieces are not all that well coordinated. But maybe the knight back to e2 to... No, I'm not sure where it's going, honestly. Knight to d3, I guess. Knight d3 to e5. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, he's pausing to think first. A guy whose motto is don't think. He's taking his time. It's probably good. That's probably what he should do. Okay, so let's start these pawns a-marching. Now if he moves the e-pawn, I really can't take the d-pawn, so that seems good. Then I want to go b4, knight d3 to c5, and if he takes, then I'll take back with the bishop, and I'll have a nice little structure over here on the queen side. Good for the endgame. Okay, so what's his plan? I thought invading with the rook, maybe? Going there. Ah, that I didn't see. It attacks two. It attacks two pawns. If I push this pawn, he takes the other one. And of course I have my bishop there. So where's the best way to handle this? Yeah, the knight can't get there in time to defend it. Ah, that's a good move. Okay, can I play something? Let's see, I can defend one pawn. And I probably should. So bishop d4, then rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. And it's my turn. I could start bringing the knight in, knight to d3. Controlling the e5 square. Also looking at... yeah, I don't see any way to defend it. Okay, so let's start with this. This would allow me to push if I had another move, but I don't have another move. He's going to take right away, I assume. And start activating my knight. I should also have thought about just moving my rook to the A file. That might be good. But he could play rook a3 too. He can't. He doesn't have to. Yeah. So let's see. If I go knight to e5, he takes. I take, and then he could push with f3 and e4 and chase my bishop away from the defense of that pawn. Play knight here now. Hit the rook. Also, when I take back with a pawn here, you know, his rook is not hitting my loose knight there, so that's a double benefit of moving that knight. Get it away from where it's a loose piece, and hit the rook. So the rook will move probably to a3. That's what I'm guessing. I could play rook b1. Can't really lift my rook off the back rank until I deal with the problem of my king here and not having squares to go to. Okay, 2 minutes to 4 minutes. Still plenty of time, I would guess. And maybe this is a critical moment. If he takes the bishop, I have to take back with the pawn. Oh, right, he had to move the rook first. And he moved the rook to the back rank. So maybe this is what he was worried about. So I can play knight to e and d7, forking the rook and the bishop. But the bishop is defended by the knight, so I'm not even damaging his pawn structure. Well, I am a little bit. Say knight there, rook moves again. Knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. So I'll give him a doubled pawn, but I'll have this weak outside pawn in the endgame. I don't know. Probably I should be looking for ways to defend this endgame that are better than that. If I just go with the bishop versus a knight, maybe that's my best bet. So I'll start with this move. I just won't keep taking. I'll just take once here, and after he takes with the knight, then I will play on.
Check.
With the bishop versus the knight here. And defend that pawn and just bring my king out. I'm defending the pawn so my bishop can move. So if he gets one of these plans going like f3 and, f6 and e5, kicking my bishop, then I have a way to deal with that. So both of us bring our kings into the game. You know, I also may need to defend my rook so that this pawn isn't pinned in some circumstances. Okay, so he's going to wander around with his knight. Let me bring my king over one more step. And let's push the pawn to make it a little more difficult for him to push through with e5. And now he's going to attack the bishop, I guess. Knight here, I can step forward with my king to defend the bishop and also the pawn. But, well, it does allow him to go into a pure rook and pawn endgame. I thought he might try, rook to a8 and come down here to the 7th rank. That might be an idea. That's one reason to push these pawns forward is if I get my king out of the way, I can push forward here. Yeah, well, anyway, I have to find some clever way. Oh, maybe, yeah, if he goes to the a file, maybe I just lift my rook up to the 2nd rank and defend that way. Okay, he's down to 30 seconds. Whoa. Well, the question is here. Where do I go with the bishop, or do I let him take? I didn't see any great squares for the bishop, sadly. So we're going to get this pure rook and pawn endgame. Ah, he doesn't want to trade. Okay, now I can move my rook. Yeah, so he wants to weaken this pawn by pushing on. I don't have to deal with that immediately, I don't think. Because if he pushes, I can push as well. And maybe he trades.
Check.
Oh, I misread something. Let's think about this. I was planning to take on, or attack the g-pawn there, but the knight's defending it. So do I want the knight and pawn endgame? Probably not. Okay, if I move my rook and he pushes, I take, he takes, and I really have to move the bishop. And where does it go even? This prepares a square
Check.
on f2 for the bishop. And
check.
Of course he can check and drive my king back. So I've got a check here. I could also bring my rook to the back and check from behind. Let's sit on the position for one move and see what his plan is, how he's planning to go forward. Ah, he plans to do that. Okay, now let's go behind.
Check.
Oh, I see. He's going to take with the knight. Yeah, that's forced. And
server announcement. Check.
This is a way to pick that knight back up without giving up a pawn. So I may have swindled my way into a draw here. That would be nice. He's still got a good position there, doesn't he? He can go after that pawn. Let's defend. And yeah, I don't know what I can do here. I'm just going to sit on this position I mean, I think it should be a draw, but I don't really know. There is an idea here, isn't there? But if I ever lift up my rook, then he takes here, so it's not working. Be nice if I could get my rook there with tempo somehow. Okay. Ah, now he's got an idea. He's going to go over here, maybe. Let's play one more waiting move.
Check.
Yeah, so maybe this is a win for him. Let's think. So I take his rook. He takes back. I take the pawn. He takes this pawn. I push. He pushes, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And for me, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like we both queen. Aha! But my king is on the square that he's going to queen on. Right? Because I have to take first, so that this pawn can queen. And then when he queens with check. Is there a way to gain a tempo here somehow? Yeah, I don't see it.
Check.
I'm just going to play it out because I don't have anything better to do here. But sadly, he gets one extra move with that check. He also has an extra pawn.
Check.
Because I guess this would still be a draw if he didn't have that extra pawn. Because this is a bishop pawn, right? And well, my king needed to be over on this side.
Check. 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 Check.
He can't take the pawn because it's a stalemate.
Check.
He should sacrifice the queen by taking the pawn. And then queen this pawn and win that way. So when he discovers the winning plan, then I will resign. But anyway, it's a bit of good game. What's he doing? He's not doing that. He has to give up the queen for that pawn, I think.
Check.
Yeah. Okay, where's the resign button? There we go. Well, that was a good game. I will
White
upload
resigns.
this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.